What is going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, GeoFlux here. I'm gonna be honest, this election season, there's so much going on where it really is. I'm gonna just say what a lot of people have been saying, a lot of people have been thinking, a lot of people have been feeling. And I'm also talking about how I feel too. People are tired of dealing with the Democrats versus Republicans, Republicans versus Democrats. Many of us are tired of the corrupted two-party political system in the USA. First of all, neither party really seems to grasp the reality of how things are going for people. And this is what happens when you're constantly electing people that are privileged and they're not coming from the same socioeconomic class as you. You're electing people that are upper class, upper middle class, upper class, coming from rich and wealthy families, people who are heterosexual specifically, cisgendered specifically, Christian specifically, and they're backed by 1% and 2% in the rich and the wealthy and the corporations. So if you're not a part of that wealth population, that socioeconomic class population, they're not really going to be able to advocate for your best interests because they don't know what your best interests are. They're not from your community. They're not from your demographic. This is why poor people continuously are left behind, because you're literally electing rich and wealthy people who have never had to struggle or suffer a day in their lives financially. And granted, you shouldn't have to suffer to know that other people are suffering, and you should do something to make their lives easier, to make their lives better. But in this world, unfortunately, a lot of people who come from privileged backgrounds, until they personally go through it, they deny that these are the realities of other people who don't have their privileges. And then you've got multiple genocides going on that are being funded by U.S. tax dollars, despite the fact that many U.S. citizens, residents, are struggling to make ends meet and have no say-so on where their tax dollars go. We elect folks that are supposed to represent our best interests, but they are bought and sold by the corporations, by the lobbyists. So they're only really advocating for the best interests of the corporations, of the political action committees, of the wealthy, the lobbyists. They're not advocating for you and me, So it really is just turning into a consistent problem, a consistent issue. The genocides that I'm talking about, and I'm going to be doing more videos specifically highlighting what's going on, but the genocides that I'm speaking of are what's going on in Palestine, what's going on in Sudan, what's going on in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, what's going on in Haiti. There's just genocides and crimes against humanity happening all over the world. And then you look in the USA, you've got people who have full-time jobs that are living in their cars and living in tents and on the verge of being evicted from their apartments and houses, or on the verge of foreclosing on their homes because we're not being paid living wages. Despite us having full-time jobs, the cost of living is so high in the USA and has been high in the USA, while our wages and salaries have not stayed afloat. You know, people shouldn't have to work 2 and 3 jobs to pay bills. And the out cold part is we're glorifying it, and we're not even talking about luxuries at this point. You know, we're talking about being able to buy groceries to feed our families. That's now being considered a luxury. So that's what I mean by, like, there's problems all over the country, but it's also all over the world. Globally, these are issues that people are facing. So it's just, it is a constant problem. Things really need to improve across the board. And then if you're looking at within the USA specifically, we're also dealing with issues around LGBTQ plus rights, women rights, you know, racial inequalities, Black Lives Matter, Brown Lives Matter, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander, Indigenous, Native American, etc. We have so many problems, and it's just like people don't want to be honest about the problems that we're facing. Then we've got climate change going on. Climate change has been going on. They've been telling us this for literally since the late 60s, early 70s. There has been an ongoing conversation around the environment and how things need to improve ASAP, because we're literally killing our environment. And, you know, people are literally choosing to not live in reality about what's going on with our environment. We're having wilder weather, hurricanes are worse, earthquakes are worse, tsunamis, tornadoes, horrible flooding. Our power grid in the USA, especially down south, is trash. Our infrastructure across the country in the USA is falling apart. Literally just had a bridge collapse in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I believe. And that was what, a couple of months ago? Like, it's bad. We've got the mass shootings, gun violence. There's just so many things going on. People can't afford rent. People can't afford groceries. People can't afford childcare. We've got a recession that a lot of these economists and political people within the media don't want to acknowledge. This is why you have political officials telling you how great the economy is, even though you yourself and a lot of people that you know are literally struggling to make ends meet. Again, we're electing people that are out of touch with reality. You know,